Hello viewers. Today we are going to talk about a very fascinating topic, Bollywood. The question which I would like to propose is, what is Bollywood? And in the beginning of the discussion, I would like to break down three misnomers associated to Bollywood cinema. Number one, that Bollywood is equal to Hindi cinema in general. Number two, that Bollywood is equal to pan-India cinema. And number three, that Bollywood is simply uncritical copying of Hollywood cinema. Let us take up these issues one by one. Number one, that Bollywood is anything and everything to do with Hindi cinema. Now, the Bollywood appeared for the first time in the English dictionary recently only in 2005. It appeared as a noun, a name for Hindi popular film industry based in Mumbai, in the Oxford English Dictionary in 2005. However, going outside the performa of dictionary definition, the word simply represents a kind of glossy and progressive Hindi cinema of 1990s. According to Madhav Prasad, the term serves different things for different people. And the term is very vaguely and loosely used to refer to Hindi cinema both by the academic circuit as well as by the common media. However, I propose that Bollywood is primarily a 1990s phenomenon, and as noted by popular eminent scholar Ashish Rajadhaksh, it is not just Hindi film industry or Hindi cinema, but rather a cultural conglomeration, a culture industry which came into existence with economic liberalization in 1990s. It has a specific mode of presentation and specific narrative, and it came as a consequence of the synchronous development of international capital and diasporic nationalism. Let us go on to the second issue, whether Bollywood can be called as pan-India cinema. Now, when I talk about pan-India cinema, it actually incorporates regional cinema as well. These regional cinema, like Bengali cinema, Tamil cinema, etc., have strong regional market or strong regional grasp, both in context of the number of films produced as well as their market reach. On the other hand, the Bombay film industry dominates the regional market, both in context of the revenue earned and the market reach. Let us talk about the etymology of the word. Where did the word come from? Two eminent scholars have both cited the emergence of the word Bollywood. Ashish Rajadhaksh has tracked the etymology of this term, Bollywood, and suggested that the word appeared as a joke in the journal Screen India on its Bollywood beat page, with the companion word Tollywood for Calcutta film industry based in Tollygunj, and even for a while Mollywood for the Malayalam film industry. Madhava Prasad have also located the use of the term Tollywood in a telegram that Wilford E. Deming, an American working on film, received as he was about to leave India. Now, this alliance of the term to a certain place or locality actually frees itself from being represented as simply an uncritical copying of Hollywood cinema. The most populist approach of reading popular Hindi cinema have primarily been in the context of state. Sumita S. Chakravarti, in her book National Identity in Indian Popular Cinema, 1947 to 87, has given us a detailed reading of Hindi popular cinema from context of the state. However, post-1990s, Hindi popular cinema started being read as a negotiation between national, transnational as well as global. The NRI or the diaspora came into the center of the picture, and a newer form of nationalism, commonly referred as diasporic nationalism, remained at the center of the study of Bollywood cinema for a considerable period of time. Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami जय जगदीश हरे, भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। Let's talk about 1990s. Why exactly I am referring to 1990s as the birth year of Bollywood cinema? What exactly happened in 1990s? As we all remember, 1990s is the era of reform of India in general. It is the year when the LPG model, liberalization, privatization and globalization model was introduced in India. The LPG model was of great favor to Hindi cinema. Prior to 1992, film export were subjected to state policies. However, post-1990s, with the neoliberal policies being adopted by the government, overseas market became a major source of income for Indian producers. I am not saying that the number of tickets sold or the market reach was even higher than the domestic market. The number of tickets sold in these foreign markets were comparatively much less in compared to any domestic market. However, you have to note it down that the tickets sold were actually not in rupee but in dollars. And due to the price difference between the rupee and dollar, even though the small number of tickets were sold in foreign market actually generated a considerable amount of revenue for Indian producers. Thus, it was in 1990s that overseas market became a major source of income for Indian producers, sometimes even greater or a considerable portion of Indian theatrical revenues. Ashish Rajadhaksh quotes Subhash Ghai in context of the said issue, and I quote Subhash Ghai, "There was almost a threefold increase since Pardes, for which I made 45 prints, and 5 times that of Khalnayak. Hindi films now have significant market in US, Canada, UK, Middle East, and it is making inroads into South Africa, Australia, and is now also popular in Japan, Hong Kong, Southeast Asia, and of course Mauritius." It was then that suddenly the overseas market became extremely important, and so did the diaspora or the NRI. However, apart from the increase in export and the rise of overseas revenue, other factors also came into play in 1990s, obviously as a recourse or as an effect to the LPG model. The LPG model allowed foreign direct investment into the Indian entertainment industry. And with this, foreign entertainment moguls like Paramount, Fox, Warner Brothers, Walter Disney started stepping their footsteps into the Indian entertainment market. 1990s is also a very important years for Indian television, especially with the privatization of television and with the coming of foreign players like Star into the Indian entertainment industry. Star and Zee became fully functional satellite channels, and these private TV channels not only became a platform for Indian viewers for receiving global entertainment, but also emerged as a secondary revenue source for Hindi film producers or Hindi film industry. Deregulation also made it possible for import of Hollywood films into the Indian theatres. Films like Jurassic Park, or as we commonly remember, Bari Chipkili, opened in India in 1994 and was one of the first Hollywood films to be dubbed in 3 Indian languages: Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu.
एलन ये यहाँ कैसे आया? इस तरह की वेरीफॉर्मिन जाति के पत्ते तो आदिकाल में ही खत्म हो चुके थे और
यही है डायनासोर।
कर दिखाया, इस पागल बूढ़े ने तो कर दिखाया।
ठंडे खून वाले रूल बुक को फाड़ के फेंक दो, सब लोग गलत है तो गर्म खून वाला जानवर है।
मुझे भी यही लगता है।
अरे इसका तो 27 फीट का गला है।
The Brachiosaurus is 30.
30 फीट? ओह नो।
Hollywood films now being simultaneously run along Bollywood films, and obviously Hollywood by 1990s started emerging as a strong competitor to Bollywood films even in their domestic market. 1990s was also the year for the mobile revolution, as we say it, or the IT boom in India. IT and software service sectors took over cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad. Home entertainment was on rise, with VCD, DVD, and even Blu-ray disc becoming extremely popular. And obviously, it did affect the Bollywood film industry, as the industry had another source of revenue at its doorstep, which was basically the home entertainment revenue. So, if we summarize, there were 3 important sources of revenues already emerging as a result of the 1990s opening up of the economy, that is with the liberalization. Number 1, the overseas revenue was on rise. Number 2, the home entertainment revenue was on rise. And number 3, TV emerged as a very important source of revenue. On 10th May 1998, Sushma Swaraj announced that the government has decided to accord industry status to Hindi film industry. This made it possible for filmmakers and film producers to acquire money from financial institutions as well as banks. Thus, filmmaking in India, or film business in India, was now much more organized, unlike the olden days. The period, that is 1990s, saw rapid corporatization of film industry, with bigger players such as Reliance Industries, Mukta Arts, etc. entering the film industry, unlike the olden days where individual producers, small-scale producers were swarming the entire industry. On the other hand, dramatic changes were occurring in our country too. From being a third world country, it was now being recounted as the next generation superpower. The Bharatiya Janata Party-led coalition government of 1990s worked very hard to promote the India shining image of India in 1990s. it quite tactfully used Bollywood in promoting the India shining image. Now, if you look at some of the films of 1990s or some of the under quote Bollywood films like Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, obviously Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, before that, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Pardes, it quite tactfully brings NRI into the center of the picture.
पनघट पे आई मुटियारे छम छम पायल की झनकारे खेतों में लहराई सरसों कल परसों में बीते बरसों आज ही आजा गाता हंसता तेरा रास्ता देखे रास्ता अरे चुप चुप गाड़ी की सीटी आवाज लगाए रे घर आजा परदेसी तेरा देश बुलाए घर आजा परदेसी तेरा देश बुलाए रे.
But this NRI is quite different from the actual NRI who is living in the foreign land. This particular NRI, or the way NRIs were represented in the earlier films, this NRI, in spite of the fact that he has left his hometown, his country, and in spite of the fact that he has grown up in foreign land, is very much rooted to its Indian culture and heritage. Thus became a site for asserting cultural identities, especially for nationalist parties like Shiv Sena. And suddenly, with the arrival of Bollywood, popular Hindi cinema, which was earlier known as escapist cinema, with men and women running around trees and singing, became legitimized. Legitimized by the state as well as legitimized by its people. Tejaswini Ganti, in her 2012 book Producing Bollywood, also proposes that Bollywood cinema came into being with a desire of Hindi cinema to gentrify itself. That is, a desire to renovate or convert itself in order to cater specifically to middle class taste and sensibilities. This was facilitated further by the newly acquired cultural legitimacy of cinema by India. Viewers, if you notice that in this episode, I have primarily taken you through this word Bollywood and also why and when this terminology came into existence. In my next episode, we will dwell into the narratives of Bollywood cinema, which came with films like Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, Dil To Pagal Hai, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Pardes, etc. And we will see how these narratives incorporate all the ideologies which I have mentioned today in this particular episode. On this note, I thank you for being with me and looking forward to seeing all of you again in the next episode. Thank you.